So like, so basically throughout your 20s, you're basically doing a bunch of gigs. Is it all throughout Montreal? Are you traveling to other cities? Tell us a bit more about what it's like to be a DJ during that time, because a lot of
Uh,
us are never gonna know.
well, here, I was going through my Facebook, the memory thing of like, the day of what you did. So I realized that, I've done Under Pressure, which is a graffiti festival. I've done Under Pressure for a good like 13, 14 years. And I remember those were the gigs that I loved every year because you're a DJ, you get to shine, you get to do whatever you want to do. I used to just do like the beginning parts of the weekend and then whatever, and then progress to
How
doing
did you
more
like get
showcases.
linked up with them? Like, yo, that's big.
Well, the thing is, at the time, I just wrote an email or I reached out to whoever was in charge, which is Sterling Downey, who's the city councilor of Verdun, because he's the one that organized it with a few other people, but he's the main guy. But I remember maybe messaging him, and I believe Melissa was another big part of Under Pressure. So I think I messaged her too, and that's kind of that beginning part of like how I just because they with Under Pressure they take local artists if they want to do like if you're an MC, you can do a showcase there. If you're a DJ, you could throw down some beats. If you're a b-boy, there's DJ battles and stuff like that. If you're a graffiti artist, you get yourself a wall. You know what I mean? And do some graffiti stuff. And that was at the time a big thing for me because it was a festival, and it was a community festival that was towards artistry. And regardless of how good you are, regardless how much of a veteran you are or a beginner, it's a tight community where it you get to just see people shine or do what they want to do. And also you get to meet people who love just, that type of artistry. So it was a big deal to me at the time when I did my first year, and then every year I've done it since, just because it's more towards being a part of a community than anything. So that's why I always try to hold dear. Like there are years that are just it was kind of like and then there was years that were the really good years in terms of like what I could do as a DJ. But at the end of the day, it's all about just being, hanging around with people that are just in the same vein or into the same like vein of like what a community festival is, which is just for the people. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, and yeah, it was a big deal at the time. It still kind of is a big deal because I just like to meet up with like people. I've done like now going back, I did mention that I like DJ battles. So I did DMC battles, which is basically kind of like a DJ battle for turntablists to do like a 6 minute routine and try to impress people. Uh, I've only come in I've done it 4 times throughout the years. I've always came in fourth every year, so it's always a bit of a bummer to like not even crack the top three every year, which is like BS. But it is what it is. But I do want to maybe do DJ competitions in the future again, but because I'm becoming an old hag, it's like it's like it takes a toll on my body type of thing. But no, it's just the highlights too. Like I've done, like I was saying, I was doing like hip hop shows. I remember opening up for Slum Village a couple of years ago. That was a big deal for me. I remember opening up for Method Man with alongside Les, who is a local MC back in the day in Montreal. Man, what other hip hop shows? I've opened up for uh Black Milk was another big one for me. And man, I know I'm gonna blank out and I'm gonna remember more and more for sure after this interview, but those are the ones that kind of stand out. I know a couple of years ago too, I did open up for a Daft Punk cover band. So that was interesting. That was fun. That was good. That was like two guys that are just dressed up and just playing like Daft Punk tracks, and I was just kind of in the beginning
So
just
you're like an
playing.
actual DJ, and they're like
Yeah,
guys who are mimicking their like actions while playing Daft Punk tunes.
but it was good. They're cool guys. I forget their real names, again, it was like remixes of Daft Punk's tracks, which is fine. But I was digging it because I for sure was never gonna see Daft Punk in real life, and Lord, I'll never see them again since they've split up. But it was a good time. Like I've done a lot of I've joined a lot of bands too and played as a DJ. Like I know with my brother, he has a lot of bands. I know I used to join them on stage and do cuts in between breaks and stuff like that. So those were those was interesting. So I love to play with bands. I should mention too, if any of like shout out to to the Urban Science crew a couple of years ago, because every Thursday at the time, Urban Science would hold a cipher. I don't know if you know
Yeah.
the Urban Science crew, and a lot of times per month, like I started maybe 3 4 years ago doing like nights with them being their DJs. So I would play in between tracks, but also too, it's cool to kind of jam with them to play with tracks that they give me kind of like a 8 to 16 bar to do cuts over. You know what I mean? So those jamming with like Urban Science is probably a great highlight for me as well, because like the artist, like the band itself is kind of like there's different bands that rotate throughout the week, but they're all like supreme like musicians in their own rights, and then you got MCs that come in and they do their freestyles and stuff like that, and then you got singers too that sing. It's just I think what I like a lot about a lot, like I was saying, underground events and stuff, is it's just kind of like an open field for a lot of artists to shine, um, and give like a lot of like freedom to like have, because I've always liked doing improv, so it's just like to jam with like different artists and stuff. It's cool, and different musicians and different MCs. It's pretty sick to kind of be out of your comfort zone as a DJ and just jam, you know.
Yeah, I like this whole
So
like aspect of DJ as an artistry. So like what's been interesting talking to DJs is just how like versatile the term actually is. So you have Don Smooth, who's like radio DJ guy, and yeah, he does do events and stuff, but there's also that whole radio element to what he brings to a table, right? Then you have this guy DJ Bobby Payne, where really what he wants to be is the guy that pauses the track and says shit. Like that's it. No, but I mean, like basically, he broke it. I mean, I'm simplifying it, and it's
yeah,
not even boring when you watch
yeah,
DJ Bobby Payne and he just pauses, goes, "Okay, whatever," in my laid back Bobby Payne voice, and then he just like fucking lets it go. It's like amazing shit. I can't describe why I like it, but he does it
hmm
very well. Like he was part of DJ crews, and that was his job almost to be like the hype man of the situation.
yeah.
And then like you talk to somebody more like a Bashment Booth, and he's all about like curating the perfect experience, right? And then we talk to you now, and it's like this concept of artistry where like now all of a sudden it's about the technical aspects, the scratching. It's almost like the concept is like DJ Overflow creating like the instrumentalist of a DJ, rather than just DJ Overflow, the curator of a good experience, which he also is. So book him.
hmm